Hello, fellow duelists. This is Shadow of the Moon, and today I'm actually going to be showing you a long overdue, awaited, updated deck profile of my Infernity deck for July of 2022. So this deck has not been updated since, I believe, October, so it's been a very, very long time, and honestly, the deck needed a lot of work. I actually had to go back and look thoroughly about how to actually update it, what cards to put in for it, what's technical, what can make the deck more consistent. And I think I felt like I built one of the best Archfiend deck or Infernity decks that you can actually have. Keep in mind, we have not had support for Infernity except for Phantom Rage, and the Return of the Reaper, which is not out yet, is probably going to be one of the best cards that Infernities could get. Unfortunately, since it's not out yet, we are not playing with that, so this deck is going to be kind of for the format for this. But I love Infernities because of their ability to be able to swarm, and it sucks because they have been underused a lot, and you do have to combine a lot of stuff with them. This deck has been completely revamped from the ground up, and you're going to see why. But before we get started, I just want to say thank you to all my new subscribers and all my people who watch the channel. You guys rock. Thank you so much for posting comments. I always love commenting back and listening to them, and I always do listen to a lot of your suggestions, and I do take them into consideration. So if I haven't ever seemed like I do, and I just seem like, you know, I just say thanks for the tip or whatever, I'm actually keeping them under consideration, and I am testing with them. So you guys do have a lot of really, really good ideas. So without any further ado, finally, let's get on into the deck profile. So obviously, first, you're going to have one copy of your Infernity Archfiend. This is the main card in the deck. Infernity Archfiend, what it does is, if you control no cards, and this card is special summoned, you can special summon an Infernity monster from your deck. Also, if it is the only card in the field, you can add a Infernity monster or Infernity card from your deck to your hand. So honestly, you're going to be adding an Infernity launcher, and you're going to be going over and kind of swarming the field. This card, Mirage, and Necromancer are the three most important cards in this deck because of the consistency and the constant spamming of the graveyard recycle. You're going to be using this, you're going to be using Necromancer, and you're going to be using Mirage's effect to special summon Infernities back to the field. Mainly this, mainly Necromancer, and mainly Mirage. Alright, so then you're going to have one copy of Infernity Patreon. This is mainly going to be in here because if you control no cards in your hand, you can special summon this card from your hand. Also, if your monster will be destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can actually banish this card from your graveyard instead. Then we're going to be playing 3 Wildcats. 3 Wildcats, honestly, is one of the best cards in the stack because if you by discarding an Infernity card, you can special summon it, and if you have an Infernity card, you can banish it to increase or decrease its level, making it having very great level manipulation, and being able to go into your 100-Eyes Dragon, or being able to go into your Borreload Savage Dragon, or even go into your Herald of the Arclight, which is in this deck. So this deck actually does have a lot of gates, and mainly what you're going to be wanting to go for is your end field is you're wanting your optimal end field to be Appaloosa, Borreload Savage, and then Herald of the Arclight, which is going to help you have those negates. Honestly, though, unfortunately, if your opponent somehow ashes you or negates it and stuff, honestly, yeah, the deck is very, very glass canny, so to speak, because it can be easily countered. But if you're able to pull this off, it's just amazing to be able to see it. And then one copy of Infernity Conjure. This can be special summoned from your graveyard if you control no other cards in your hand, but it does get banished once it leaves the field. And then 2 copies of Infernity Necromancer. If you control no cards and this card is summoned, it switches to defense position if you control no cards in your hand, and you can special summon an Infernity monster from your graveyard. So honestly, and obviously, you're going to be special summoning this back to the field numerous times, and this card, you're going to be spamming the effect because it is not once per turn, which is probably one of the most important things in this deck. And then 1 copy of Infernity Sage. So Infernities have not really gotten support. I know I said the Phantom Rage, but the new set, Ghost from the Past, released a lot of support for Infernities, but unfortunately, it was also used with the Void support, and a lot of cards in this deck do not search for Void cards because it has to say Infernity. So really, the only 2 monsters that you could search for the deck would have been this and Infernity Pawn. And Infernity Pawn I was not going to include a copy of because it's just not good enough to kind of be in the deck. So Sage actually is really good because it can allow you an extra, when it's sent to the graveyard, can allow you to put another monster into the graveyard, which can help you out a lot. That is why he's in here. Plus, he is a tuner, so he's a level 2, meaning you'll be able to go into your Herald of Arclight, or you can even Synchro Summon into your level 8. You can run 2 in here if you wanted. I just thought 1, personal preference-wise, was probably the best option because the way Infernities work is you have to make sure that you have an exact number of what you want in the deck. Otherwise, it's not going to flow and it is going to brick because this deck does brick. And it can. So I try to make sure that it doesn't brick as often. And if you have a lot of cards that don't really go in the deck, then chances are it's going to. So that's why Sage is in the deck, but there's only one of in there. It kind of sucked because there really was only one good support out of what came out of Ghost from the Past, sadly. But hey, Sage is at least good for now until we get that Return of the Reaper. And then 2 copies of Infernity Mirage and Infernity Avenger. Okay, so this is one of the most important cards in the deck, and I know I say that a lot, but this is because even though it can't be special summoned from the graveyard, if you control no cards, you can special summon up to 2 Infernity monsters from your graveyard. So how this is going to work is, honestly, you're going to use its effect first, and they're going to use 100 Eyes Dragon effect, which when this gets banished, you're going to use the effect of it, and then make it a Infernity Mirage, its name and its effect, to where you'll be able to activate its effect again to be able to get Necromancer and Infernity Archfiend to be able to recycle their effects constantly. And Infernity Avenger is in here because it is a level 1 and it is a tuner, so you can use 1 for 1 in it, and also it can come back if an Infernity monster gets destroyed by a battle and sent to the graveyard, but mainly since it's a level 1, that is the reason why it's in here. And then one Stygian Street Patrol, only 1 in here because you can banish this card to special summon a card from your hand. This can be dumped using Ebon Angel's effect, or not Ebon Angel's effect, Fiendish Rhino Warrior effect, and that's mainly what you're going to be doing in the opening hand. You're going to be using your tour guide. You're going to special summon Fiendish Rhino Warrior from your deck, send those 2 to the graveyard to summon Ebon Angel, and then you're going to use an Ebon Angel's effect and Fiendish Rhino Warrior's effect to dump this, and then hopefully your Necromancer into the graveyard so you can go along with your plays. And then we run 3 copies of Tour Guide. I've seen videos of people only running 2 of these. I run 3 because this is going to be your combo starter. This is the main card that you want to see next to Fiendish Rhino Warrior. You only want 1 of him in the deck because you don't want to draw him into him. This is something you want to pull out from the deck using this girl's effect, and that's why I run 3 of them in there. But if you wanted to run 2, that is completely up to you. I just choose to run the 3 because it is still one of the most important cards in this deck. Alright, so then we're going to be playing Fiendish Rhino Warrior. Fiendish Rhino Warrior, mainly when it goes to the graveyard, you can send a Fiend monster from your deck to the grave. So you're going to be sending Stygian Street Patrol. And then you're going to be using Archfiend Harris. When this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add a Archfiend card from your deck to your hand. So the only card this is going to be targeting is Infernity Archfiend. So that way you've got it into your hand. Alright, so that's it for those. Let's go on to the other one. So we've got the last 2 is going to be 2 Gilosaurus. Now you're probably wondering why you have Gilosaurus in this deck. Well, Gilosaurus is a level 3 extender, and it does work quite well because if you're going first, if this is your first turn, if you get 2 of these, you can special summon both of them. And also I do play Fossil Dig in this deck to be able to turbo it out, so this counts as another body, and it does really work. Yes, unfortunately though, your opponent can't special summon a monster from the graveyard if you go second and you have that card in your hand and you special summon it. Alright, so that's going to be it for the main deck. I told you it's a lot of new cards in here, but I think that is a lot more balanced, so let's move on to the spells. So first off, your Infernity Launcher. This is the most important spell in the deck. So what this is going to do is, it is going to allow you to discard a card from your hand to the graveyard, and also you tribute this to special summon 2 Infernity cards from your graveyard. So this is going to be used in succession to Necromancer to kind of pull all your Infernities back onto the field to activate their effects again, to recycle them, to kind of get that board that you're going to want and that field that you're going to want. And then 1 copy of Infernity Paranoia. Infernity Paranoia can basically let you have another copy of another monster. If you tribute a dark monster, you can special summon from your deck one that has the same level. So you can use, if you tribute a level 3, you can special summon a level 3 from your deck, mainly Necromancer. And then you've got Void Apocalypse, 3 copies of Void Apocalypse, because this is going to let you keep discarding cards from your hand, so that's what makes it very important in my opinion. And then 3 copies of World Legacy Succession. I do plan on getting 2 more of these. These are just somewhat expensive at the time that I was getting this. This is going to be mainly your Monster Reborn. This is what you're going to use to target Infernity Necromancer, and I will be showing a combo video right after this video soon, so stay tuned for that. That will kind of help you show how to have the most optimal field that you can have. So yeah, I do plan on, like I said, getting 2 more copies of these, but for right now I only do have the 1. And then 3 copies of Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial, this is going to help you get your Gilosaurus. This is the main reason that it's in here. And then we're going to be using 1 copy of Ready Fusion and 1 copy of Instant Fusion. If you have another copy of these, you can throw another one in the deck if you want. I only have the 1 because that was the only one that I pulled. So this is going to allow you to get your fusions onto the field and to be able to use them for whatever play that you want. And then we're going to have 1 copy of Monster Reborn, 1 copy of Foolish Burial, and then 1 copy of 1 for 1. Okay, so this is going to be used here for your target for Mirage or Infernity Avenger. This is going to help you bring back your monster, obviously, and then this is going to put a monster that you're going to need into the graveyard. Alright, so that's it for the spells. Let's move on to the traps, and we only run 4 traps in this deck. So we've got 3 Infernity Barriers in this deck. This card is just amazing. It acts as a negate, its own negate. So if you have a face-up Infernity monster, if your opponent activates a spell, trap, or effect, you can actually negate the effect and destroy it. So also, this reason why there's 3 in here is it's also very easy to bring out. If you recycle Infernity Archfiends, generally what you're going to want to do for your deck, for your play, is that when you use Infernity Launcher already, it's in the graveyard, if you bring back Infernity Archfiend, you're going to want to search for this card next because of its negate ability. And then lastly, 1 Infernity Suppression because this negate monster effect. That's why it's in here. You could choose Infernity Break if you wanted to. I thought that this would be a lot better in my opinion because it's a negate, and you're going to want to have as many negates as you can. So that's going to be it for the main deck. Let's move on to the extra deck. So first, 100 Eyes Dragon. I've got 2 of these bad boys in here. This is going to act as your copier for like Mirage, and being able to get the effect to be able to get 2 more Infernity Archfiends onto the field, which is what you're gonna want to definitely do, because that's why it's very, very useful, because you're going to banish Mirage and then you're going to get its effect. And then 1 Borreload Savage Dragon. If you cannot afford this, you can also use Drake Berserker the Tenyai. This card is great just because it is very easy to get out. You're going to be using Ebon Angel to be equipped with it, and then it gives you another Omni Negate. And then you have 1 copy of Infernity Doom Archfiend. This shuts down 1 monster and shuts its effect off if you have no cards in your hand. And then Herald of the Arc Light. This is going to negate a spell trap or monster effect. And then 2 copies of Saryuja Skull Dread. This is going to let you draw, because this deck, believe it or not, can swarm very, very, very fast, very quickly. Getting Appaloosa on here and getting Saryuja Skull Dread is not a problem in this deck, because you're always going to have the monsters available. You're always going to have the 5-6 monsters on the field. And then you're going to be recycling them, which is going to really help you a lot too. So this is going to allow you to get the draw 4 cards and then send the other 3 cards, so you're going to be able to go into your deck. And then 1 Appaloosa, very easy to get this on out. Mainly you're going to be getting this out and only having the 3, making it 2400, but that's all you really need. And then Christian Happyfrax, I completely disregard, sorry, I do apologize if I butchered that name. But this is going to let you pull your Infernity Avenger or your Infernity Wildcat from the deck to be able to go into a synchro play. And then you've got your Cross Sheep. So honestly, this is going to be in here for the fusions that I have in here, because this lets you draw cards, or this lets you special summon a level 4 lower monster from the graveyard, so it kind of acts as like its own Monster Reborn. And then you're going to have Ebon Angel of the Burning Abyss, probably one of the most important cards in this deck, because this is going to let you dump a card into the graveyard to increase the attack, but you're allowing it to dump it into the graveyard for graveyard fuel to go for your play. And then number 60 is going to let you draw cards. Lavira the Sea Dragon. This is going to allow you to bring back special summon a monster that was banished. So you'll be able to special summon your Infernate Archfiend or your Infernate Necromancer by using its effect. And then you're going to be using for the fusions and Fusionist or Thousand Eyes Restrict. You can have the other Millennium Eyes Restrict if you wanted to. I just want a Thousand Eyes Restrict in this deck. These are going to be your targets for your Instant Fusion and your Ready Fusion. Alright, so that's going to be it for this deck profile. So mainly, this deck has went through a major change because there was a lot of stuff that needed to be changed and added onto it. And if you've noticed, there are no draw cards in this deck. I chose not to put the draw cards in this deck because you don't want to draw anything outside the game. Because you also have to keep in mind that every single time that you draw, you risk losing the chance of being able to special summon, because your Infernities all require you to have no cards in your hand at all. So only time you should be drawing, honestly, is going to be drawing outside of, like, Upstart Goblin or Pot of Prosperity or just whatever, because you don't want those. You don't want to be able to draw those. You don't want anything related, even Allure of Darkness. I did think about adding one Allure of Darkness to the deck for the draw power and then the banish to be able to get back using Levere Dragon, but I chose not to because you want to make sure you don't have anything in your hand for this deck, because that's why it's Handless Death, Handless Combo, because if you have nothing in your hand, you can easily go into all of these cards. Alright, so that's going to be it for this deck profile. I know it was a long one, and I did the best I could because there was a lot to cover. This deck has completely been changed and overlapped, and I hope that you really enjoyed. And try it out. Go on Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro or Master Duel or whatever. If you have, try out the deck and see if you like it. It's a lot of fun. Unfortunately, like I did say earlier, state earlier in the video, it is bricky. It can be bricky, and it is a glass cannony deck, because if they ash it or they effect Veiler or they whatever they use, it is going to shut it down. You may be able to play through one hand trap, but playing through more than that is going to make it very difficult. So with that, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you like it. And see you guys next time. Later.